This conference will now be recorded.
I
Great.
started recording.
Great, thank you. All right, and just for the recording that has started, this is the June 20th meeting of the OCP Harbor Management Group. All right, and we've got today's agenda up, and Amber has an item that we've added. The only other things on the agenda today are the work group updates. Were there any other items to cover today?
Jeff, we can mention the OCP Global Summit abstract submission. Today is the last day.
Yeah. That may have been.
That's also covered in the IC pass downs.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we start with let's start with the OC. Hearing nothing else, let's we'll move on down the agenda. Let's take a look at. Can I open that here? Hopefully. Hooray.
So as a refresher, all the entries after this and before this, I just retained the contributions that were proposed during that session. So the latest was June 1st. There is actually a process change. So there's a proposal, if it's not already been acted, for certain documents and contributions to be approved by project leads and not needing to go up to the IC. I believe this involves white papers and other documents where the subject matter expertise is within the project and not necessarily up at the IC. So I'm getting clarification of that to make sure I know when that process goes into effect. But that means that white papers can actually get approved here as opposed to by the project leads, as opposed to having going up to the IC. List of events under Global Summit. As I mentioned before, it's been moved to today. So you have 24 hours to get that done. And that's it for IC pass downs.
Great. Thank you, John. All right. Moving on down. Let's see. The strategy decks. Is any updates there, John? I see a. John, I don't know if there was any update here.
Yes, the last time we had the discussion, we actually going to remove this item because we said there was so much going on as far as work streams being created that it was basically outrunning the strategy, which is exactly what open source should do. So,
yep.
Right. So we were going to say, yeah, this is fine, but we're not going to do anything more with it because the work streams were being created and going where the community wants it to go. The community didn't need any particular direction as to where we want to go. So if we could just remove this item, that'd be fine for next.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Tech Talk summary. We do. Is there any need to do a recap of those? Those presentations have all been posted along with the recordings. John, did you have anything else on that?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
It's done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So then, before we get into the work streams, and let's see. I don't know if pull that window open. I don't see Sammer on, so I don't know if we're going to get any more updates on the RAS API. But with that, let me turn it over to Amber Huffman, who would like to talk about their recent contribution on component resiliency.
Awesome. If you can give stop sharing and let's see if I can share. Yeah, there we go. Thank you for the time. Yep.
There you go.
So the most of the slides I'm going to show are slides that we showed at the Tech Talks. We are getting ready to contribute the point 3 that we're revision of the server component resilience spec. And so I was just going to do a quick recap and then talk about what's going to be in the revision point 3. And we're planning to present this for the IC meeting coming up on July 6th. So we wanted to make sure we previewed this with the team here. So overall, we're trying to solve the challenge of silent data corruption, but that is becoming increasingly a problem as we get to smaller manufacturing processes and hard to reproduce and hard to solve. So how do we help both industry and academia work on that? And so we have 3 strategy principles that we're trying to use to solve that. One is standard formats for input and output, and this point 3 contribution is going to cover the input format is the key thing that's included in the contribution. Open frameworks is another key thing, and we've already open sourced several open frameworks from both Intel, NVIDIA, and from AMD, and ARM is utilizing the Intel Open Framework. And then how do we accelerate via collaboration? And so getting these input formats and output formats out there allows us to work closely between industry and academia. So the information sharing, we're really trying to standardize how do we do that information exchange. And so make sure that its scope includes, design for test, telemetry, fault tolerant software, and so on, and create these communication pathways. And so in the initial, we're going to be quote unquote crawling, and so enable that broader community to run experiments on defective machines. And one of the key things about that is the input format, or what we're calling the information exchange format, is how we can allow different people to write tests that could run on different machines that would be hosted by different industry collaborators. And so we're trying to get that set up and allow feedback on both that input format, and then set up how would we actually allow people to submit tests to be run on different machines hosted by different parties. So then over time, we would be able to then have a database of information where we could actually understand and have that common test development framework and evaluate new solutions on faulty systems and detection techniques. So the data of what's really in this point 3 contribution that we're publishing together is how do we have things like device type and device architecture, what technology node, test supply during vendor manufacturing, the test supply post-manufacturing, test environment, time to test failure, reproduction rate, error detection, and high-level failure info, the example log, age at first failure, T equals 0, and time after T equals 0 degradation, and more details on if diagnosis was performed. And some of the reason we're trying to get this out at the 0.3 stage is, for example, that T equals 0. That's one of the discussions we've had in the team is, for example, T equals 0 is deployment in the fleet, not T equals 0 is when the part was manufactured. So how do we get that clarity of what we're measuring, get the feedback both from industry partners and from academia of making sure that this is super useful as we move forward. So this is just a visual of what it would look like of those high level that I discussed about, 2 different CPUs and how it would be different in those different characteristics and an example test on each. And so what the contribution is specifically is we're covering, the tenets, the scope of what's in scope and out of scope of what our work's trying to tackle, a definition of what an SDC causing computing system is, which is actually fairly complex, since a lot of people have lots of definitions in fault space, and then the information exchange spec, which is the input format. So we are trying to get this out and then get feedback from academic community and whatnot in July and August, and then have a 0.5 spec that we would have also added SDC metrics of what's a good test that would come in about September ahead of the global summit. So that's what we had. So I wanted to get any feedback or questions.
Yeah, this is John. Is there an intent to create a work stream around this?
We don't have an intent to create a formal work stream. We're going to start hosting office hours where anybody can come and give feedback, but we weren't planning to have additional meetings beyond those office hours.
And so as this spec evolves, how does the community follow it?
Yeah, as the spec evolves, people, you know, as point 3 is out there and whatnot, people can provide feedback to any of the authors and provide information. We're happy to provide updates here occasionally as people want. This is kind of how we operate, for example, on the NVMe data center SSD spec in the storage work group. We just occasionally, you know, present as the team wants, and people provide feedback offline. And part of that is one of the challenges we've run into, at least in the storage project, is also handling feedback to avoid any IP contamination has been a concern there.
Okay, Amber, this is Hamel. I have a question on this point 5. You said September 20th, 2023. So is there any plan to discuss this at upcoming OCP Global Summit?
Yeah, absolutely. So we submitted a proposal so that one was Microsoft, Rob Chappell, NVIDIA, and AMD submitted an abstract to cover the metrics. So yes, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Of course. Well, I really appreciate the time and any other feedback. Happy to take it. So thank you so much.
I think it would be good, Amber, if I know we don't have work stream, but periodically if we can get an update, maybe as the spec is moving along.
Absolutely. And so obviously the point 5 is we're targeting it relatively soon of within the next 2 to 3 months. So we'll be back with the point 5 and we love the feedback as we move forward. So thank you.
Amber, is that deck or is the point 3 doc, is that link available yet?
It's not yet available. We'll have it available by end of week. We have a final scrub session on Friday. We actually just realized that the July 6th IC that we're trying to hit, that this is the last hardware project meeting before that. So we hadn't, so we're doing a little scramble this week to finish up a little cosmetic surgery on updating the tenants and so on.
Great. Okay. All right. Thanks, Amber. Anything else on that topic, folks? All right. Moving on then. Let's see. I don't see. I hate to have to scroll through this.
So Antonio's on the line.
Oh,
Yes,
oh, hey.
I'm here. So
Oh.
for the RAS API, we have not started meeting. We've sent the poll to get where the best time is, and we will start soon. We're waiting for a few partners to sign their CLAs. There have been some concerns from the legal side, and Michael Schill has been helping us with it, but still plowing through that. We hope to start in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And John.
So for manager profiles, we're looking at issues filed against the baseline specification and dealing with it. The one we've addressed so far is the one for using the new power and thermal models. And what I have is the latest update, which is an issue that was filed a couple of weeks ago, which is the request to change the requirement for HTTP to HTTPS. Seems fairly straightforward. Remember when we initially released the profiles, we kind of created the lowest bar we possibly could, so as many people could actually pass it. This seems reasonable. So we need feedback from hardware management about whether we should make this HTTPS as opposed to HTTP, and then I need to go to the server project to make sure they're aligned, and the other platforms maybe using the baseline to make sure they're all okay with this update, because it would take us from version 1.0 to 1.x, because I believe it becomes a breaking change.
Yeah, I think that's certainly seems reasonable.
Yeah. So if you could provide comments, I'll put it in the issue. Is this group generally agreed that we should go to HTTPS as a mandatory requirement? Before we make the change, I'll come back and tell you what my round to the other projects have uncovered.
I mean, since the protocols we're talking about all have requirements for HTTPS, I don't know how you get around it.
John, what was motivating this change?
What is motivating? Oh, we have initial filed. So if you look at the top of it,
Oh,
initially filed against the baseline. We're trying to close the baseline profile update.
okay.
Yeah, there's my comment. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's see. See if is Mick on or someone from the liquid cooling work stream. Oh, I see. Michael's on.
I'm not really prepared to make any kind of a comment.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out who does this report out because Mick isn't gonna dial in from Australia for this.
Well, yeah, I know he intends to, but then again, that's it's still a pretty late ask for him.
Yeah, he could take the same tack as DCSCM. Chen does a written status
Yeah.
and just sends the link across so it could be read. They don't have to be present. So we can talk to him about that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on to the so I hadn't seen this proposal, or it probably crossed and I didn't see it. Accelerator.
He isn't present. So
Yeah, he's not. So.
So I would. Do you have his email address?
I don't. Let's see if I got.
Okay.
I don't know if I spell it right. It would be helpful.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Was he on the call last month? I'm looking to see if the. Yeah. All right. So I've got his email address. He's with Vishwan's with Microsoft. I'm looking at. There was there pieces of that in the tech talk? I honestly can't remember. But all right. Well, regardless, he's not here today, so we'll move on. Yogesh.
I believe Yogesh and Drew are both on vacation somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Need to open this one up. We've got that infrastructure requirements spec. I can. All right. I'm gonna see if there was when this was updated. Was this?
So they're closing it up, trying to get it as a contribution, but it hasn't quite made it to Michael Show yet.
Okay. Okay. Well, the link is there, so you've got access for it for any folks that want to look at what's going up to the IC for this.
And John, is this the type of contribution that will move to project leads to approve instead of the IC?
That's what I'm at. That's what I'm trying to find out is when the process change actually is active.
Right.
So if it's active, then just go to project leads exactly for this reason, right? These guys have done a lot of work. We're probably made new project leads. It's a hardware management thing, right? There's no one in the IC which will understand exactly what's going on enough to actually review the white paper. So
Yeah,
might as well have it
the
approved.
IC lead that was already informed of it because of their direct involvement, right? So
Exactly. So I will close to make sure that we know exactly what to do with this document once it's
Okay.
ready for contribution.
okay. All right, and the fault I'm trying to remember what the other FM stands for. It's the fault management of scale.
Fleet memory fault management.
Fleet scale memory.
Fleet scale. That's
Fault
I can briefly give an update on that one. So we had out of the 2 meetings this month, we had one canceled due to summer vacations. The other one we did meet. We're making progress on the framework to standardize how information is passed to analyzers, third-party analyzers in the fleet, specifically memory information. So we've reviewed several proposals, and so we're now splitting the tasks and taking AR. So some teams come back with the fixes that we discussed last time. So we're getting the inputs and outputs into standard format, making good progress there.
good. Okay. All right, and then hardware management. That's all of us. The hardware management module. We got, and there's two pieces there.
Yeah, so noted in the IC pass down, the DCSCM 2.1 is in review. I should have finished balloting today. And nothing's happened in the Run BMC side.
Okay. All right, and Open RMC.
Yes. So So can you hear me?
Yes.
So we have consolidated all the security part regarding all the security model, all this question, and we put it into the 1.1. So we have in the sub meeting approved the 1.1. So the next step will to prepare for the IC approval and for the contribution for the 1.1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for BMC security, the hardware part, we haven't got a chance to have this incorporated. So maybe put it into our future spec.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So John, you want to talk about device manager?
Sure. Device manager is now aligning with version 1.0 of OpenRMC specification.
I'm sorry, John, can you repeat that?
The device manager is aligning or implementing OpenOMC version 1.0. So there was, you can say, adding functionality to align with
Oh,
because they did complete the gap analysis and a couple of things they need to implement in order for it to comply with version 1.0.
okay,
Once they get to 1.0, they'll go after 1.1.
right. All right, anything else on that?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I think that we got through all of the work groups, I believe. Any other work streams? Anything we missed? All right, well, that was all of the agenda items we had, and Amber's thing went faster than I expected as well. So anything else, any other topics for today? All right, well, hearing none, we will conclude the meeting today. Thank you, everyone. I will give you some time back, and we will see you all next month. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.